Hello everyone, it's Rob's Guy. Welcome back to another video. If you're new, welcome. I showcase daily videos of my gains and losses. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about how my portfolio is going down again because I have all my money in Palantir, and then we're gonna talk about new news with Palantir, and then lastly, we're gonna talk about what ARK is doing with Palantir in their current ETF portfolio. Okay, so as you can see here, dipping down to in the 70s now, high 70s. At one point today I was at 75. So this is coming from 116 about like 2 weeks ago. And in the past 2 weeks, pounds here has just been dropping. So if we see here, I have 6,000 shares. So 4,000 of those shares was my money and I had all my money in it. And I still do. I bought an additional 2,000 shares about 2 weeks ago, and I even bought some calls over here, as you can see. And then even when it was dipping, I bought some additional calls to try to average down. Now, I normally don't buy calls, but I normally just sell. But I decided to buy calls because I'm bullish, especially towards the January 26th demo day. So that's why I'm gonna keep holding, and preferably I'm gonna try to sell covered calls when I can. That's what I've been doing. However, I feel like only this week is the week that's kind of tough because of all the political news that's going on this week. After that dies down, I think next week will be a really good week for Palantir. I think it's gonna start picking up, and it's gonna pick up a lot faster as we get towards the January 26th. So I feel pretty confident that Palantir will get back to that 28 range at least by the end of this month. So I'm gonna try holding out as long as I can without, hopefully it doesn't dip too much and I don't end up having to have a margin call, because I do have a good amount in margin because I bought additional shares and these calls. So worst case scenario, I would have to take a loss and probably sell either the calls or some shares. And yeah, that's what happens when you get a little bit too greedy. So normally, again, I just sell options. I don't like buying calls because you never know what could happen. And literally after I buy calls, the week after, Palantir starts dipping. So the good thing though was that today, even though it was a red day, it was able to hold its ground. So it didn't dip that much compared to how it's been dipping the past week. So yeah, it's been holding its ground for a while. Anyway, so let's talk about some current news. Okay, so some current news that came out was that they acquired a new contract for 22.5 million with some Japanese business. And it's interesting because the news actually, or the contract was done in December 28th. However, it was just announced today based on what I'm seeing. So it's a little bit interesting how they decided to bring out the news today. Maybe they want to start releasing more PR news. Maybe they have a bunch of contracts that we don't know about that they're gonna start releasing, and it's gonna start picking up the stock price. We'll see. But this is the news that came out today, and maybe that's the reason why it was able to hold a good ground, a good support level above 23, while the market was pretty much tanking. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about how ARK is still investing in Palantir and what their current amount of shares are. So if we take a look here, obviously they have Tesla at the top with the highest weight amount, and there's the top 10 right there. So Palantir is all the way down here at 53, right underneath Nano Dimension. Now we scroll over to the right, we can see that they have about 1.3 million shares in total amount of $31 million. So they're not heavily invested, but it is a good amount of money invested in Palantir, and keep in mind that Palantir only has a certain amount of shares that are actually owned by institutions because of their DPO. So the majority of the shares currently held by the company employees. So just keep that in mind, that even though there might be a lockup expiration that's coming up soon, well, not soon, but relatively soon, then the stock may dip in the short term. However, I feel like many institutions and retail investors will buy in dip and then just hold a good support. I don't expect it to dip too much. Bullish on this stock, and I expect it to be around the 28-30 range at least by the end of this month, and hopefully shooting above 30 as we get closer to earnings. If you like the video, please subscribe. If you want to keep watching my account tank, or if you want to see it come back up because I want to bring it back to the 120 range by March, then subscribe, stick around, and I'll see you in the next video.